Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this painting tutorial of a Grimdark Draknar Beastman Gor from the Garage Racks spoilers for Warhammer Underworlds. I have primed it in matte black and used a wraithbone of a sentinel, and then I'm starting painting all the skin and fur with Love Affair instant paint from scale 75. So trying out some new colors here and some new starting point for skin. So trying to experiment here with some unorthodox starting points, for me at least. And then I'm using Holy White speed paint over all the wrappings and horns and skulls and stuff like that, right? Here he is now. And then I go about painting in all the metals with a bolt gun metal, but you could use lead belcher, iron warriors, or whatever really you have at your disposal. It's not really that important. And then I'm using a wild beast, which is a kind of a desaturated, watered down, brown red, kind of a almost looks like a bloody cloth. So it kind of fits the model, and then using a fiery orange for the loincloth as well. And a mix of wild beast and demon brown instant paint for the shaft of the axe. And then I'm using that demon brown watered down to a glazy consistent to shade all the metals. And then I'm using demon brown in its purest form to paint in all the fur. And then it's time for the most interesting step, to layer up the skin, because I'm not gonna leave it red like that. No, I am gonna start with the Tau favorite color, right, XV88, watered down to light up the skin, so kind of hit every area except the crevices with this color. Just leave the shades red and go about it with this lovely ochre XV88. Just make sure to water it down. You don't want a clumpy old layer there. And then I'm going at it with watered down Death Claw Brown. Was a really nice shade of color, right? And in painting inside that XV88. So make sure not to cover all of it. That would be redundant even if it's watered down, so it wouldn't be totally redundant, but yeah, try to paint inside of the XV88, right? Want it to be a smooth transition here for the skin. And then finally I'm using Angor flesh to paint inside that Deathclaw brown to really make the model pop. And in a select few areas, not shown here, I'm also lighting it up even further with a bleached bone, kind of a spot here and there for any scar tissues and maybe some point on the face to really make it pop. There it is at its current state. So you can still see a lot of red shining through, and that's intended. And then I'm using Love Affair to paint in the tongue, and Althoan Grey to paint in the teeth. Don't want them too clean, right? And then I'm also using that Althoan Grey to shade some of the wraps and horns and stuff like that. And then Demon Brown like halfway along the horns, and then after that clean your brush and move it in the opposite direction to make a smooth transition into the creamy parts of the horn. And then use Bugman's Glow to light up a strand here and there of the fur. Don't need to pick out everything, that will be as a nuisance, right? And then I'm using Typhus Corrosion to really weather all the chainmail and the axe and stuff like that heavily. We want this to be grimdark as and then add some Nihilic Oxide to get this left outside the ring look, and then dry brush with Rise of Rusts over all of the Typhus Corrosion. Then I'm using a black mud texture from Green Stuff World. Leave it for about an hour to dry, and then I dry brush it with Nurgling Green to get this final result, this lovely deep moss. And here you can see him bloody, rusty and angry. So if you have enjoyed this brief painting tutorial, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell button, the like button, and leave a comment to what you would like to see next. So without further ado, take care.